Hey, welcome back to another Tech Support Spy video. Thank you so much for watching this video and tuning into this channel. We have a article to talk about in this video here. This article is from PC Mag. The article writer is Eric Griffith. And have you ever thought about how much internet speed do you really need? Have you thought about what are the right speeds that you need for your home or your business and for the things that you like to do when you're on the internet? We're going to talk about that in this PC Mag article. All right, so the article starts out with the answer to the question: how much internet speed do you really need? Don't just automatically shell out for your internet service provider for their fastest tier service. The perfect balance of throughput. And what throughput is, for those, and I know that we are here to help you become tech savvy, but what throughput is the speed. How much speed is your internet pushing out, right? So when you are getting 100 megabytes per second, we'll dive more into this in this article, but think about the speed that your internet is pushing. Can your router do 100 megabytes per second? Can your router support a gigabyte per second? The throughput refers to the speed of your internet. So it talks about the perfect balance of throughput and value in a home internet connection isn't easy to find, which is not. You don't know, if you are just a regular user just searching the web and your email, you may not necessarily need 1 gigabyte per second of internet speed. You might just be good enough for just maybe 20 megabytes per second. We'll talk more about that here in a second here in this video. But it talks about, that internet connection for a home internet connection isn't easy to find, but our simple tips will help you figure it out. And they do have some pretty good tips in this article. So as you go into this article, and again, I didn't mention this, but the article will be in the description, but it talks about what's the perfect amount of speed for the internet connection. And, typical households on the averaging in the United States, the 100 megabytes per second for downloads and 20 megabytes per second for upload. So when you look at the megabytes per second, think of it as the million bits of data. So think of in your mind a congested freeway, right? So if there is 100 megabytes per second, think of it as like 100 million cars on the freeway. And to support 100 megabytes per second or 100 megabytes or 100 million cars on the congested freeway, let's say there are, 150 million lanes, right? That means it can support 100 megabytes or 100 million cars on that freeway. Now, if you have a 90 million freeway or lanes for a freeway, that means it can't support 100 million cars on the freeway because 90 million lanes can't support 100 million lanes, right? Because you have less lanes to support the 100 million cars on the freeway. So that means you may have a lag in the speed based off your megabytes per second that you have with your internet. So think about the megabits per second as like visualize a congested freeway and visualize that freeway has enough freeway lanes to support your speed. And think about with the uploads and downloads, right? It talks about the 100 megabytes per second for downloads. And we'll talk more about this here later in the article, but that refers to the information that you're downloading. So if you're going to a website and you may go to Yahoo or you may go to youtube.com, that means your PC is wanting to access and download that website from that Yahoo or from that web server to allow you to see that website. So that's what download means. And when there's upload, that means you're uploading files from your PC to the internet. So if you are loading a document or file to like Google Drive or OneDrive, you need adequate upload speeds to upload that data or allow for you to have speeds to upload those files to Google Drive or to OneDrive. So I wanted to break that down a little bit. Hope that made sense, especially with the freeway analogy, but let's continue on. Okay, so as they break down the average household of 100 megabytes per second for downloads and 20 megabytes per second for uploads, that should be adequate. And for a normal user, that's adequate internet speeds. That's fast enough to stream movies, play online games, and run all the Zoom and FaceTime calls you want to without any hiccups or out any lag, without any connectivity issues. But we have to understand what the difference is between megabytes, gigabytes, up and download speed. So they do have a good section here where they do break that down. It talks about how we first started off with the kilobytes per second, right? And then after the invention of the World Wide Web in 1991, the average speed online was only 14.4 kilobytes per second. Wow. 1991, we were only doing 14.4 kilobytes per second at the time. That kind of reminds me of like the dial-up. Remember the dial-up? Remember that? Anyway, that's how fast our modems were back then, right? So that says the maximum speed the analog phone lines could reach was up to 56 kilobytes per second. Wow, have we've grown and evolved since 1991 as far as our internet speed. Like, imagine going back in time, right? And you being able to like download like Fortnite, or you downloading like an email that you want to look at, and you sitting there waiting for that email to download because you only have 56 kilobytes per second. Yeah, I think that would irritate all of us if we went back in time and only had 56 kilobytes per second when using the internet. But as you go further into this article, it talks about how it started to grow into the megabytes per second, megabytes being the million per second in the mid 2000s. And then it started getting up to the gigabyte per second, which is a billion bits per second that can be processed as far as your internet speeds. It talks about the fiber, Google Fiber, at&t fiber. You know, if you're looking to get speeds over gigabytes per second or up to 10 gigabytes per second, you need the fiber lining to be able to get that internet speeds up to 10 gigabytes per second. So it breaks that down further in the article here, and it then talks about the downloads, right? So all the speeds above are measured by downloads, right? What it takes to get information from the internet to your device. So remember what I said, if you need to go to a website like yahoo.com or youtube.com from your PC, when you type in youtube.com or cnn.com, you are actually accessing that web server that the website is on. So you're actually downloading the website to your computer so that you can see what's on that website. So that is the concept of download speeds, right? The speeds that takes for you to download that website to your PC to make it visible to you. And then the upload speeds, it talks about data going from your device to or across the internet. So again, when you are uploading data to Google Drive, OneDrive, even when you're like streaming, if you're doing some live streams and you're streaming on like Twitch or something like that, you're actually uploading your stream video to Twitch's server to allow for it to be a live stream out to everyone on the internet. So you need to have upload speeds to be able to do that when you are doing live streams. So quick nugget there to kind of share with you about the upload speeds. And then it gets down into, how much speed do you actually need, right? And it kind of gives you some examples here. So it talks about the web. If you just need to search the web, you don't need 30 megabytes per second for download. Remember, when you were going to a website to download youtube.com or yahoo.com, right, for you to access that website, you're actually downloading the website to your PC, right, on the internet, and that's using your download speed. You only need 3 to 5 megabytes per second to do that. If you're a user that's emailing or chatting right online, that's part of your download speed. So if you are emailing someone or chatting with someone, via like Microsoft Teams, you only need one megabyte per second for that. If you're streaming video, right? If you are, downloading a stream, like you're watching like, I don't know, maybe a Netflix movie or something like that, you only need about 25 megabytes per second to have that download speed to be able to see that Hulu or that Netflix video online. If you're doing video conferencing, just need about 3 megabytes per second. Streaming video, 10 to 20 megabytes per second. Online gaming, right? Now, I would say that the 5 megabytes to 3 megabytes as far as a download and upload, That's just like the minimum. But I would say for online gaming, you at least want to have like 10 megabytes to 20 megabytes per second for your download, and at least 10 to 15 megabytes for your upload, to be able to have a good online multiplayer gaming experience. But this is just a minimum, right? This is not the required or the expected speeds for getting the highest performance in your online multiplayer gaming. But again, I would say you want to go with like 10 to 20 download and maybe like 10 to 15 upload for your online multiplayer gaming experience. And security home devices. Apparently for 10 to 12 devices or cameras, you only need about 5 megabytes download speeds for those devices. So you don't really need a lot. You don't need to have like 1 gigabyte per second of internet speeds. You don't need to have like 800 megabytes per second of speeds, depending on what type of user you are. On average, 100 megabytes per second download speed and 20 megabytes per second upload is sufficient for most internet users, most home users. Let's talk about how you can determine what is the proper speed for your home and what you do. All right, so this is the last part of the article that I want to share with you, and it's a good article. Take a look at this article. Take what we've explained to you as far as the speeds, the megabytes per second, the gigabytes per second. You should be able to take that and be able to interpret some of the words that's being used in this article to understand what it's trying to explain to you. So if you want to calculate your bandwidth needs, right, there is a bandwidth calculator. They have an option here in the article. Let's go ahead and open this up. You can go to broadbandnow.com/bandwidth/calculator. So this gives you an option to kind of calculate what type of internet speeds or bandwidth do you need for your household, right? Check out our bandwidth calculator tool to understand what your household needs to run at the most optimal level, right? So we're going to start the test. Let's say, how many devices do we have? We're going to say we just have one device, right? We're going to act like we don't have a lot of computers. And it says, how often do you video conference, right? How often do you use Zoom, Microsoft Teams, FaceTime, etc., etc.? Let's say we do it, weekly, right? And then does your household game online? Do you play Xbox? Do you play any other like Call of Duty games? Let's say rarely. What's most important to you? Some customers or consumers would prefer, to have the little extra higher speeds than having, such a budget that they want to stick to. So you can either choose to go with the speeds or choose to go with the price. I'm gonna be cheap. I'm gonna go with the price. And we're gonna put in our zip code. All right, so what they are saying for me in the bandwidth calculator is that, all right, you have, 1 to 4 different devices. You don't really do video conferencing weekly. You don't game, right? And you want to keep a budget in mind. So really, the most I really need is from my internet provider is 50 megabytes per second, right? This calculator is also in the description. I do recommend for you to test and use that bandwidth calculator. I think it's a pretty neat tool, neat feature to use. And this is us reading the PC Mag article and helping you determine what is the best internet speed that you should use for how you use your computer in your daily life in your household. And I hope this video helped you out. Please like and subscribe, share this video with others. Help us to continue to grow this channel. And again, as always, thank you for watching TekSupportSpy.